Have you ever finished a movie, stared at the screen for a few seconds, and thought, what the hell did I just watch? Some movies entertain you, some scare you. But then there are movies that completely mess with your perception of reality. And before we begin, I just want to say that this channel is a one-person project. I'm just a movie lover sharing the films I've watched, discovered, and genuinely enjoyed. I write every script, record the narration, and edit every video myself. So if you enjoy these videos, even a simple like, comment, or subscription means a lot to me and really helps me keep the channel growing. I truly appreciate your support. So today, we're counting down 10 movies that will completely break your brain. If you love movies like Inception, Shutter Island, The Prestige, or Memento, you're going to want to stay until the end, because some of the movies on this list take mind-bending storytelling to an entirely different level. Let's begin. Triangle, if you enjoy movies like Coherence or Predestination, where time and reality don't behave the way you expect, then Triangle is definitely worth adding to your watch list. Directed by Christopher Smith, Triangle follows Jess, a young woman who joins a group of friends on a yacht trip. Everything seems relatively normal until a strange storm leaves them stranded in the middle of the ocean. Eventually, they come across an apparently abandoned ocean liner, and that's when things start getting very strange. Once they step aboard the ship, the characters begin experiencing events that seem strangely familiar. People start appearing where they shouldn't be. Events seem to repeat themselves. And slowly, the movie turns from a simple survival thriller into a disturbing puzzle involving time loops, fate, and identity. What I really like about Triangle is that it doesn't explain everything immediately. Instead, it gives you small pieces of information and lets you figure out how they connect. If you enjoyed Predestination, you'll probably appreciate the way Triangle plays with cause and effect. And just like Coherence, it's the kind of movie that becomes more interesting when you start thinking about what you've just watched. By the time the ending arrives, you may find yourself wanting to start the movie all over again. Enemy. If you liked the psychological mystery of Shutter Island or the unsettling atmosphere of Black Swan, Enemy is a movie you should definitely check out. Directed by Denis Villeneuve and starring Jake Gyllenhaal, the story follows a quiet university professor named Adam. One day, he notices an actor in a movie who looks exactly like him. At first, it seems impossible, but Adam becomes obsessed with finding this mysterious double, and the further he investigates, the stranger everything becomes. The movie starts playing with ideas of identity, paranoia, relationships, and hidden desires. But what makes Enemy particularly fascinating is that Denis Villeneuve doesn't give you a simple explanation for everything that's happening. Instead, the movie is filled with symbolism and visual clues. You might finish the movie with several questions. And yes, you're probably going to search for an explanation afterward. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance makes the story even more unsettling, while Villeneuve creates an atmosphere that feels uncomfortable from beginning to end. And then there's the ending. Let's just say that if you thought Shutter Island left you with questions, Enemy might leave you with even more. Coherence. What if you were having dinner with your friends and suddenly discovered that there might be another version of yourself living just a few houses away? That's the fascinating idea behind Coherence. If you enjoyed Primer or The Invitation, there's a very good chance you'll appreciate this movie. The story follows a group of friends who get together for dinner on the same night that a mysterious comet passes over Earth. Everything seems normal at first. Then the power suddenly goes out. When the characters look outside, they notice something strange happening in the neighborhood, and before long, they realize that something may have gone seriously wrong with reality itself. There may be multiple versions of their neighborhood, multiple versions of the people inside it, and possibly multiple versions of themselves. What makes Coherence so impressive is that it achieves all of this without relying on expensive special effects. Most of the movie is simply people talking to each other in a house, but somehow that makes it even more unsettling, because because you start questioning every character. Who is telling the truth? Which version of reality are we watching? And who exactly are the people standing in front of them? If you love movies that make you put the pieces together yourself, Coherence is a must-watch. And don't be surprised if you finish it and immediately want to watch it again. Donnie Darko. If you enjoy movies like The Butterfly Effect or Mulholland Drive, Donnie Darko should definitely be on your list. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal, the movie follows Donnie, a troubled teenager who begins experiencing strange visions of a mysterious figure wearing a disturbing rabbit costume. The character calls himself Frank, and he tells Donnie that the world is going to end. After surviving a bizarre accident, Donnie starts experiencing increasingly strange events. Time seems to behave differently. He begins receiving mysterious messages, and reality itself starts becoming difficult to understand. What makes Donnie Darko so fascinating is that it isn't simply a science fiction movie. It's also a psychological drama, a coming-of-age story, and a mystery filled with symbolism. The movie gives you clues without always telling you what those clues mean. And depending on how you interpret the story, you can come away with very different conclusions. That's one of the reasons people are still discussing Donnie Darko decades after its release. It's not a movie that simply gives you an answer. It gives you a puzzle and then asks you to decide what the answer is. Predestination. If you loved Inception or Interstellar but want something even more focused on time travel and paradoxes, you absolutely need to see Predestination. Starring Ethan Hawke, this science fiction thriller follows a time-traveling agent who is sent on a series of missions to prevent a mysterious criminal from carrying out devastating attacks. But the mission becomes much more complicated when the agent meets a mysterious person with an extraordinary story. From there, the movie starts playing with identity, time, cause, and effect, and the idea of whether the future can actually be changed. What makes Predestination so clever is the way it slowly reveals information. Something that seems insignificant at the beginning can become incredibly important later. And once certain pieces of the puzzle fall into place, you may suddenly realize that the movie has been telling you something completely different from what you initially thought. If you enjoyed Looper or Inception, there's a lot to love here, but Predestination takes its time travel concept to a much more personal and complicated place. And by the time you reach the ending, you'll probably want to go back and rethink the entire story. The Prestige. If you love Christopher Nolan movies like Inception and Memento, there's a very good chance The Prestige will become one of your favorites. The movie follows two rival magicians, played by Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, whose professional competition slowly turns into an obsession. At first, they simply want to outperform each other, but eventually, winning becomes more important than almost anything else, and their rivalry leads them to make increasingly dangerous sacrifices. What makes The Prestige so brilliant is that the movie itself is structured like a magic trick. It shows you something, then hides something else. It gives you information without necessarily telling you why that information matters. And throughout the movie, you're encouraged to look in one direction while something much more important is happening somewhere else. If you've seen Inception, you'll recognize Nolan's love for complex storytelling. But The Prestige feels even more like a puzzle, and once you reach the ending, you'll probably start remembering earlier scenes differently. Details that seemed meaningless suddenly become incredibly important. It's not just a movie about magic. It's a movie about obsession, deception, sacrifice, and how far someone is willing to go to create the perfect illusion. Memento. If you liked The Prestige or Shutter Island, you absolutely need to experience Memento. Directed by Christopher Nolan, the movie follows Leonard, a man who suffers from severe short-term memory loss. He's trying to find the person responsible for a devastating event in his life. But there's one major problem. Leonard can't create new memories. He might learn something important 1 minute and completely forget it shortly afterward. So he relies on photographs, notes, and tattoos to remind himself what he believes to be true. But here's what makes Memento so brilliant. The movie itself is structured around Leonard's condition. The story is deliberately fragmented, forcing you to experience the confusion alongside him. You don't simply watch Leonard trying to understand what happened. You are trying to understand it with him. Who can he trust? Which memories are real? Which clues are accurate? And perhaps most importantly, how do you know that Leonard is telling himself the truth? If you enjoy movies that force you to actively solve the story, Memento is one of the best examples you'll find. And once you understand how the narrative fits together, you'll appreciate just how cleverly Nolan constructed the entire movie. Shutter Island. If you loved Gone Girl, The Invisible Guest, or psychological mysteries where absolutely nothing is what it seems, Shutter Island is a movie you shouldn't miss. Directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Leonardo DiCaprio, the movie follows U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels. He travels to a remote island with his partner to investigate the disappearance of a patient from a heavily secured psychiatric facility. But almost immediately, something feels wrong. The people working at the facility seem to be hiding something. The patients behave strangely, and Teddy begins experiencing disturbing visions and memories. As the investigation continues, the mystery becomes increasingly complicated. And the more Teddy tries to understand what's happening on the island, the more you begin questioning his own perception of reality. Can he trust the doctors? Can he trust his partner? And can he even trust himself? If you enjoyed The Others or Gone Girl, you'll probably love the atmosphere of Shutter Island. But what makes this movie so memorable is the way it changes your understanding of everything that came before. Once you reach the ending, you may immediately want to go back and watch it again, because the second time around, certain scenes suddenly feel completely different. Inception. If there's one movie that has become almost synonymous with the phrase mind-bending, it's Inception. And if you loved The Matrix, Interstellar, or The Prestige, this is probably already on your list. Directed by Christopher Nolan, Inception follows Dom Cobb, a skilled thief who doesn't steal money or physical objects. He steals secrets from people's dreams. But Cobb is given an almost impossible mission. Instead of stealing an idea, he has to plant one. To accomplish this, he and his team must enter multiple layers of dreams, where time moves differently and reality becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish from imagination. What makes Inception so fascinating is how carefully its world is constructed. Every dream has rules, every action has consequences, and as the characters go deeper, the line between reality and imagination becomes harder and harder to see. But the real genius of the movie may be its ending. Even after the credits begin, you're still left with one question: was it real? And that's exactly what makes Inception such an unforgettable experience. It's not just a movie you watch, it's a movie you discuss. And finally, we have Primer. If you thought Inception or Predestination were complicated, Primer takes the idea of mind-bending storytelling to another level. Written and directed by Shane Carruth, Primer follows two engineers who accidentally discover a way to travel through time. But this isn't the kind of time travel movie where someone jumps into the past, changes one event, and suddenly creates an alternate future. The characters treat time travel like an engineering problem. They experiment, they test their theories, they create rules, and eventually things become incredibly complicated. What makes Primer so unusual is that the movie doesn't stop to explain everything to you. The characters speak like real people who already understand what they are doing. They don't constantly explain the science for the audience, and because of that, you are forced to pay attention to every conversation, every timeline, and every little detail. If you thought Predestination was confusing, Primer will probably make it look simple. You may finish the movie thinking you understand what happened. Then you'll watch an explanation. Then you'll watch the movie again and realize you missed something. That's part of the experience. Primer doesn't hold your hand. It gives you an incredibly complicated puzzle and asks you to solve it yourself. And for that reason, it might be one of the ultimate brain-breaking movies ever made. And there you have it. 10 movies that will completely break your brain. From the time loops of Triangle to the impossible timelines of Primer, these are movies that don't simply end when the credits start rolling. They stay in your head. You start questioning the story. You start looking for clues, and sometimes you realize that you need to watch the entire movie again just to understand what actually happened. But now I want to hear from you. Which movie do you think should have been on this list? Maybe there's a mind-bending movie I completely missed. Leave your recommendation in the comments, and if enough of you suggest the same movie, it might end up in a future epic movie picks list. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Epic Movie Picks for more mind-bending movies, psychological thrillers, plot twists, hidden gems, and movies you won't forget. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.